The CSBAG officials who had appeared before the Committee of Finance to present their position on the Development Plan Implementation Program informed legislators that while government has tried to cut on expenditures for the financial year 2022-2023, it's not enough and more budget cuts are required in order to service the public debt, which has surpassed the 50% IMF ceiling.
Our debt is not sustainable because we have contracted and we are still contracting more debt. And if we don't have a reflection as a country, because there are ways that we need to do. One, cut on expenditures, because even what the Honourable Member was saying, we are not going to realize the set targets that URA has been given. So that means cutting expenditures, government expenditures is one of the key issues.
According to CSBAG, pressure has been put on the domestic revenue to finance the domestic debt liabilities at the expense of other priority budgetary items, which is costing the country. They have also advised that the 200 billion shillings to service the public debt allocated for the next financial year is very little and that government needs to reconsider the figure.
The domestic revenue to finance. Now, such we have already breached. We have a threshold of 12.5, but if you look at the current status, we have already reached 24%. You also look at external debt service to exports, inclusive of goods and services, and also external debt to domestic revenue and external debt service to domestic revenue. Now, these benchmarks are critical, but in most spaces where we interface, the only word you hear that comes from government, debt to GDP. And we are also now so comfortable, and when we say we have already crossed the 50% threshold, but we are still comfortable and we say our debt is sustained.
Ken says that government has not invested much in monitoring the tax flows like the budget monitoring and accountability unit, which is doing a very tremendous job in monitoring projects and establishing value for money, but because they lack capacity to extensively monitor many government projects. Though the legislators have opposed it, saying that the country has many monitoring units whose budget is well stated.
Again, there are many. There's even a ministry within OPM that does, again, that monitoring. Even in the office of the president, they do monitoring. But our call was, if you look at the budget monitoring and accountability unit, which is in the Ministry of Finance, they have just at a staff ceiling. The current staff level is 40, and yet this unit, the kind of work they do and the reports that have been generating in regards to performance and monitoring of these projects, it's really something that we should commend them.
They should not run away from doing what they're supposed to be doing. Moreover, you have even given them money for to improve on their tax administration, electronic systems. So when more is given in terms of improving the tax administration, and their mandate is collecting revenue, which is in the form of taxes.
The legislators have also faulted government over the continuous borrowing that has put this country in so many debts.
You see, if Ministry of Finance would stick to the Appropriation Act as per what Parliament has allocated, I think the accounting officers would have less problems.
As we speak now, where are we? We are hovering over 50 trillion point something. We might end up on 52, 53. Even if we end up on 50 or 51, again, it will be bastardized by another supplementary in the middle there. So the indiscipline in government is completely unacceptable.
The country's public debt has hit 86.8 trillion shillings as of June 2022. The budget for the financial year 2023-2024 is at 49.9 trillion shillings, and with the supplementary budget of up to 28 trillion shillings that government has presented before the Budget Committee, the budget might go up to 53 trillion shillings. Smart24 TV, Business Today.